You know, and I think it's just that creative pulse that people feel. You know, like my sister, she's a midwife and she does amazing work, critical midwifery. But she's always said to me, Chris, why do you think about the world so deeply? You know, she says, and I'm not saying this to sort of denigrate her. She sort of says, you know, for me, you know, life is very much a straight line, and you know, and I love and I have passion, I have children, I have a husband, and that's all really important to me. But she says, I don't see the world in those kind of pulses that you do, you know. And I said, well, I guess it's just the way we're all made, isn't it? It's that left hand, right hand side of the brain type thing. But equally, I think creativity can become a bit of a
curse.
It can, yeah, it can become a curse, you know. And I think I was talking to Julia recently I was thinking about writing a piece called "Commit No Creative Acts," you know. So basically, you know, it's like don't be creative for a month. Just do nothing. But in a way, that still becomes a creative thing, doesn't it? Because you're still going to document.
Consciously trying to document that.
So it's still creative, but yeah, sometimes you know it's important to try and find ways to step away from that a bit as well, because you can kind of overload one's desire to sort of interpret the world around you. Sometimes you just have to kind of be in it as well. I think that's really important. Maybe that's just about getting older as well, you know. But I think it's really important just to kind of exist, and you don't have to always search to interpret, because I think that's the stuff of being human, isn't it? We have to try and understand why we do what we do, you know.
That's an interesting point you just brought up there, because I've noticed that my relationship to art, and I listening to you, I'm very similar actually in the way I think about things, and my relationship to change and whatever, personally developing or whatever, with what I see around me and responding to what's going on. But age is an interesting thing, isn't it? I mean, I have noticed that in the last 10 years, my thought patterns have kind of changed with my energy levels, in a sense. That's something that I've noticed. And I've adapted what I do around that, or tried to. And I wonder if that reflects on what you can achieve in a day, or whether you think, well, 10 years ago I might have done that extra hour, but this time I've got to really hone in my time. Is it something that you think about?
Not really conscious of it. I think it just depends it depends how kind of active my creative sort of passions are at any particular time, really. You know, like so I was saying last summer when I spent, you know, pretty much every day, because it was such a glorious summer.
It was.
So like basically from about 2 o'clock, as the light began to kind of get more usable, you know, and nice, and just moving towards those lovely hues that you get throughout the late afternoon, I'd just kind of go out, you know, with my camera and just sort of, and driving, like I said, to all different, or cycling to different parts of the city, and that was a fevered thing, and I just kind of shot, you know, roll after roll of film, and took it home and developed it, and I kind of suddenly ended up with, you know, just this big sort of mass of photographs of different parts of Coventry. But equally, then it kind of, but then when the summer sort of went in a way, I kind of like stopped as well, and like had quite a sort of didn't really do much, because I'd sort of really put so much into that. So I think you just kind of mix and match really with how cynical you're feeling at any particular time as well, you know, and whether you just kind of, but then fight that cynicism off with getting back out and being creative again, you know.
Interesting. 2 points there. First point was talk about what you use camera-wise, because I'm not a photographer, but I guessed it might be digital.
No, it's film.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Film. Why?
I don't. Well, because I'm a, you know.
A Luddite?
No. I am quite a bit, yeah. But I do kind of get technology, and I can find my way around most stuff. But no, I think more. I mean, I was the same when. So I play in a band as well, and when I started playing instruments, you know, for me it always had to be like, you know, authentic sort of. So like
valve amp.
Yeah, it had to be a valve amp, and it had to be like a bass guitar that was made like in the 70s or in the 60s or whatever, rather than one you could just buy off the shelf in, you know, Guitar in Birmingham or something, you know. So, and I suppose a bit the same with film, but I did start off originally working on digital, but then, you know, having conversations with some great photographers in Coventry as well, and
we're very lucky.
And then there's the brilliant, I must give them a shout out, you know, print manufacturer up at Fargo Village, who've got their dark room up there, which they've opened, but also just great talking to the guys who run the space, you know, and you can just go in and just chat stuff about, you know, and then other photographers I've talked to, just sort of, I suppose, that sense of like, you know, when you do something on film, you've got the joy of developing it and seeing that image come alive, you know, that is the real.
So that it's a process is
sort of you know, of shooting it and then actually developing it. You know, I develop my stuff at home, but then you suddenly see these negatives appear, and also just the feel of film compared to digital.